Welcome to History is Absurd. In today's episode, we'll be delving into an incredibly peculiar event in military history, the Great Emu War. Buckle up, because this is quite a feather-ruffling tale. This conflict boiled over in 1932, when the Australian government declared war on the large, flightless birds who were creating absolute pandemonium for farmers. The emu population had soared following the expansion of farmlands, and it didn't take long for folks to realize that these birds were a serious menace to crops. In their relentless pursuit to control the problem, the Australian government deployed soldiers armed with machine guns with the daunting task of hunting down these birds. It wasn't long, however, before they discovered that their war strategy had one major flaw, that they were outrageously fast and elusive. Racing up to 50 kilometers per hour, the fast-paced birds turned out to be challenging targets for the rudimentary weapons used by the soldiers. The military originally conceived to engage in hot pursuit of the birds with machine guns mounted on trucks. Alas, this approach soon proved inefficient. The crafty birds would scatter and flee every time they saw the soldiers approach, and to further add to the chaos, the guns also had a nasty habit of jamming. After multiple days of fruitless hunting, the military commander decided to switch the approach and organize an ambush, but much to their chagrin, the sharp-eyed birds noticed the soldiers and made a run for it, leaving the army not just low on ammunition, but also on morale. As the conflict protracted, it became abundantly clear that the soldiers didn't stand a chance. The emu exhibited strength in numbers and quick wit, leaving the army far from victory. The Australian public and media couldn't resist, but ridicule the army for their thwarted attempts at ridding the country of these avian adversaries. Despite facing a peck of criticism, the army was tenacious and pressed on with the operation. However, after weeks of relentless hunting, it was plain as day the birds had won the war. The government had to call off the operation and take the walk of shame, accepting defeat in what was immortalized as the Great Emu War. To unravel why the Australian army found itself clashing with birds, we have to transport ourselves back to the early 20th century. The Australian government was during this time persuading farmers to populate Western Australia. In the roaring 1920s, the government dangled subsidies in front of farmers to clear up land and plant crops with the intent to boost agricultural growth. However, as soon as the farmers began to till their land, they discovered they were up against an unanticipated challenge, a burgeoning emu population. Known for their diverse dietary preference, these birds were not fussy eaters. They led to significant revenue losses for the farmers. As a countermeasure, the Western Australian government took the surprising step of declaring war on the birds and dispatched a team of machine-gun-armed soldiers to hunt them down. The Great Emu War has since become a symbol of the government's futile attempts at reigning over the natural world. This tale underscores the unpredictable prowess of nature and its resilience. Despite the military's efforts to exterminate the birds came out on top, showcasing that no matter planning, nature has a way of throwing a wrench in the works. The aftermath of the Great Emu War set down an enduring legacy. Farmers were pressed to discover new methods to grapple with the birds, and many families learned to live peacefully alongside them. Even today, the Great Emu War is an intriguing and often tickling chapter in Australian history. Its unlikely storyline has fueled the creation of books, documentaries, and, as surprising as it sounds, even video games. As we end this amusing chapter of history, remember to stay tuned for more absurd tales from the past. Always remember, the past was the worst.
Oh, hello there, dear viewer. Still here, are we? Well, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you're looking for more content, here's what the YouTube gods think you will want next. If you wish to support the channel further, feel free to check the description below for some useful links. And bye, for now.